GTA ever made, which is one of the main reasons why the game remains so popular and alive. Of course, I don't want to overlook the fact that it's an all-time classic, and even without mods, people are still replaying it. However, what's truly impressive is the many improvements the talented modding community has made since the game's release. I've spent a huge amount of time modding this game, testing hundreds or perhaps even thousands of mods. It's been over 10 years since I started uploading tests and showcases of various graphics and vehicle add-ons. And that's why today I'd like to show you how to remaster GTA San Andreas to make it look better than ever while still keeping it fully playable. Let's start with the Essentials mod pack. It's one of those mods that at first glance doesn't make the game look completely different, but we need them to ensure the game works perfectly with all the mods we're going to install. Going further, to see the real differences, I won't hold back, and that's why I'm going to install the DirectX 3.0 mod. It's one of the best looking graphic improvements for San Andreas available at the moment, but I must admit, I also love playing with RenderHook, some of which presets look equally great. DirectX is a mod that has been created over several years by Makarus from Siberia. Even the early versions looked incredibly good, and each new one only got better. The latest version is paid and available on Patreon, but sadly, since its release, there have been no updates. 2 years ago, Makarus posted some info that work is still ongoing, and there will be a second beta test of the mod in the future, but since then it has gone quiet. But no matter what, you can't deny that the game looks phenomenal with it. The number of excellent mods is so huge that I didn't even know which ones I could show you in this video without it lasting an hour. But yeah, the next one is Rosa, a global retexture of San Andreas to high definition. It has also been in development for many years and is still ongoing, with its latest version called Evolved, created in part by Jessica Natalia. A huge advantage of this mod is that the textures used to create it are not random images. Its creators search for source images used in the original game development. Their quality is much better because Rockstar had to reduce their resolution to make the game compatible with the hardware available at that time. And remember, that was 20 years ago when the best looking games looked like this and like this. Okay, so we have upgraded lighting and the world textures, but that's not everything. There's still much to improve, so now let's focus on weapons. The current best mod for that is the 90s Atmosphere Weapons Pack Reborn 4.0. It replaces all the weapons in the game with ones that resemble the original, but are of much higher quality, and they also have high-definition icons in the game's original style. The models are not demanding on the game because they are very well optimized and additionally have 2K resolution textures, including MIP maps. In short, this pack has everything best. It is great for the first-person camera mode, and the creators even plan to add new weapons beyond replacing existing ones. But unfortunately, they couldn't place them in Ammunition, so they abandoned the idea. And since we are on the topic of weapons, the next mod we're going to install is the Advanced Aiming mod, which is a simple ASI mod that changes the position and zoom of the original game crosshair to be closer to CJ's shoulder, similar to newer GTAs. And another important note, I'm not going to install any sound mods in this video. Even though the weapons and vehicle sounds in San Andreas are quite outdated, they are one of those game elements that, in my opinion, should not be changed and should remain as they are. Now let's focus a bit on further improving the game's world. Although Rosa has already made the textures look much better, there are a few things I would change. Let's start with vegetation. My all-time favorite mod for this when I'm modding San Andreas is Behind Space of Realities. There are several different versions, but I most commonly use American Dream. I think there's no better mod for this, because these aren't just ordinary model conversions from other games. Most of the vegetation was made from scratch, and it looks really incredible. There's still a lot of mods enhancing the game map, and now we're going to install one of them. CJ's house converted from the Definitive Edition. It's in fact a much better model than the original one, while still preserving the original style. It's using the textures from Rosa because the Definitive textures are just horrible looking upscales, and just take a look. It is perfect. Near CJ's house is the 10 green bottles bar, and we'll also replace it. This time, it's not a conversion from the Definitive Edition, but a model made from scratch by Hyson. He also did a retexture of the Willow Field, which looks equally great, and I'll also use it for our remaster. But now, the best mod created by him, Jefferson and Idlewood, retextured. There's nothing better than starting a new game and immediately being greeted by such a good-looking environment. Comparing this even to the definitive edition, the difference is staggering. The last mod improving map details will be the Prop Vehicles project, which, as the name suggests, replaces those abandoned vehicles with higher quality ones, because it turns out that the original ones were created during the development of GTA 3 and are really outdated. Now, instead of replacing stuff, we're going to add something new to the game. The Missing Lampposts fix adds more than 300 missing streetlights throughout San Andreas. It turns out that Rockstar initially placed these lamps on the map, but later removed them for unknown reasons, possibly due to hardware limitations. Next up, let's install the next-gen remaster effects. This mod is more than just changing the explosion and smoke effects. It's the only one that adds specific effects to locations on the map and missions in the game. It includes a lot of advanced effects and makes specific changes that were not previously possible, adding additional effects such as realistic rain and underwater effects. Despite all this, the mod is relatively lightweight and works fine on low-end PCs. Everything is well-balanced and optimized. There are as many effects in the game as there are vehicles, which also require improvement. In this case, I also have no intention of replacing them with real models or those converted from other GTA games, so as not to disrupt the game's atmosphere. We'll start by fixing what Rockstar messed up. There are hundreds of bugs on the original vehicles, like mirrored plates, broken shadows, no specular lighting, and more. To fix them, we'll use the Revamped Vehicles project. It follows the visual pattern and atmosphere of the game, but also adds something new. It includes adaptation for improved vehicle features and vehicle functions mods. So, we have the models replaced, but the textures are still in the original, quite bad quality. The ideal solution in this case is the Proper Vehicles retexture. It replaces all the textures with 2K resolution while preserving the original style, has redone all brand logos based on the originals, fixes exaggerated scale on some doors, and a lot of other things. Even the cutscene vehicles are improved, and it includes the Enhanced Vehicle TXD file, which stores almost all the textures shared between the cars, like tires, engines, metals, headlights, and more. Okay, we've improved a lot of things, but I feel like something is still missing.
Move your body, move your body.
Ah, right, almost forgot about CJ. There's a mod called Insanity, which completely remasters his model, and all of the textures including the hairstyles. And it even adds clothes from the beta version of the game. And we won't stop at CJ. There's also a cutscene characters remastered mod we're going to install. Although it doesn't replace all the models in the game, it's better than nothing. So in total, we've got 14 skins replaced, including Big Smoke, Ryder, Sweet, Kendall, and more. And I think it looks way better than the definitive edition models, which I gotta say are kinda cartoonish. The remaster is almost complete. Now we just need the Atmosphere interface pack, which brings a complete high-definition version of the game's interface. It changes as much as possible, including the menu images, mouse, radar, icons, and more. It doesn't replace the load screens, which are still pretty bad quality, so we're going to install a separate mod for that, as well as for the fonts. Now things may get a little controversial. The final element of the remaster is adding a ragdoll mod. The first thing many of you will think is that this mod completely doesn't fit the atmosphere of San Andreas, but it's actually the opposite. The original animations during collisions with the characters are terrible, and after installing Ragdoll, I have no intention of going back. And so, we've got almost the whole GTA San Andreas remastered. Of course, as I said at the beginning,